Hi, my name is Nori and welcome back to my channel. Today I've decided to do all of the books that I have read in 2020, which has been quite a bit. So far, I waited until I finished the end of June to do the cutoff because I was reading some really good things in June, so I was like, I don't want people to miss out on this. So I decided to include all of my June books, which in total was 76 books. Holy crap. I read 76 books in 6 months, which is absolutely fantastic. Last year, I believe my goal went from 75 to 100 to 125, and then this year I put my goal at 150. So as of right now, your girl is on track. So it is absolutely fantastic. I do, as of right now, use Goodreads, but there is the beta, I believe it's called like Storygraph, and then there's another app which I'll post a picture up there. I'm slowly filling out the data myself because the uploading process, it takes forever, so I don't really mind inputting all of my data. Plus, I get to rethink about the books and the reviews and the ratings as well, because you know Goodreads doesn't do half stars or anything. So I scooched over a little bit because I'm going to use this side, and I'm going to post the picture of the book, and then I'm going to show you guys my rating. But since we have 76 books to show, we're just going to hop right in. I'll say like a couple of phrases here and there, but like I can't review 76 books. But if you do want like a stats video, best books, all my 5-star, all my worst books, because I read a couple of iffy books this year. So if you want all those types of videos, do let me know down below, because I absolutely love stats videos and I wouldn't mind filming it. So without further ado, here are all the books that I read in the first half of 2020. So, starting with the first book, it is The Hazelwood by Melissa Albert, and I gave this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Now, I know there is a second book, I believe it came out this year, or like towards the end of last year, but I don't know if I'm gonna pick it up yet. If you read the second book, let me know, because if not, I'll continue on with the series. Next book, it is Nocturnal by Maya Mothane, and I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars, y'all. This is a Latinx fantasy. I've talked about it a couple of times. I know it gets compared to A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab, which you will see later on, but there are two different stories. Yes, they have similar tropes, but one hasn't stopped anybody. Pick this book up. It was really good. Next, it is Lumberjanes Volume 1, and that is by Noelle Stevenson, Grace Ellis, and Shannon Waters. I adore this series. I actually have physical copies of Volumes 1 and 2, which you'll see later on. I really liked it. It was really dorky. It was super fun. I love the power of friendship, as corny as that sounds. It's a great graphic novel. Next, it is Warrior of the Wild by Trisha Levenseller, and I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. Y'all know I love me some Trisha Levenseller's writing, so it was gonna get a 5 out of 5 stars. Next, it is Supernova by Marissa Meyer, and I gave this a 4.5 out of 5 stars, y'all. This was the epic conclusion to Renegades, which means I finished the series. My heart. I hate finishing series, but it brings me nothing but joy. I actually really liked it, and I thought it was a great conclusion to the series. Next, it is Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell and Faith Erin Hicks. I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars, and the only reason why I gave it 3 instead of a 2 is because the art style was really cute. But besides that, it was alright. Next, it is Blitzed by Alexa Martin, and I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars, y'all. If you did not know, my love for sports romances has no boundaries, y'all. And I started with this one last year. This is book number 3. Book number 4 coming out soon, and I'm hecka excited. Next book, it is The Promised Land Volume 1 by Kayu Shidai, and I give this a 4 out of 5 stars. Y'all, from the moment that I read this volume, I cannot stop thinking about the series so much that I already bought Volume 2 so I can continue on with the series. It is dark. It is good. Next it is I Hate Fairyland Volume 1, and I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars, y'all. Do not be fooled by the cute coloring, bright. The story is dark, and it is gory, and it is hilarious. Next it is Sea Witch by Sarah Henning, and I gave this a 2 out of 5 stars, y'all. Oof. The only reason why I gave it a 2 instead of a 1 is because the ending. I love the ending. Everything else, meh. Next book, Come Tumbling Down by Shauna McGuire, and this is book number 5 in the Wayward Children series. Y'all know I love this series, and I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. Every single book has a special place in my heart, and this one was no exception. Next it is An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson, and I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars, y'all. We love the standalone queen. I loved this book, so the hype is real. Next book, it is The Mermans Kiss by Tamsin Leigh, and I gave this a 1.5 out of 5 stars. Y'all, this was something else. Problematic as heck. Ugh. Next it is Normal People by Sally Rooney, and I gave this a 2 out of 5 stars, y'all. I don't get the hype. I was so bored. This book was boring. Next it is Lumberjanes Volume 2, and I gave this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Again, super cute, super dorky, super fun. Next it is My Sister the Serial Killer by Oyinka Braithwaite, and I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars, y'all. This is marketed as a thriller, but honestly it wasn't a thriller. It was more like a suspense contemporary novel. Y'all know I don't do thrillers, but this one, because it wasn't considered one, I actually really liked it. Next it is Pet by Akwaeke Emezi, y'all. Y'all know how I feel about this book. It's a 5 stars. I love this book, and I highly recommend that you pick this up, please. Next it is Queenie by Candace Carty Williams, and I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. I know this book is controversial and not in the way that you think. It is because either people love this book or absolutely hate it. But I thought that the mental health representation here was accurate. So I leaned towards love. Next, it is War Girls by Toche Onyebuchi, and I gave this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I lied. I gave this a 5 stars, y'all. I don't know why I keep saying 4.5 out of 5 stars, because every time I go back to it, I can't think of nothing that I did not like about this book. I love this book, so 5 out of 5 stars. Next, it is Tweak You by Emma Lord, y'all. 5 out of 5 stars. I love this book. I thought it was super cute. Definitely top YA contemporaries of this year. Next, I read Snow White with Red Hair Volume 1 by Sorata Akiduki. Now, I actually like the anime more than I like the manga, but I give it a 3 out of 5 stars. It was still pretty good. Next it is Can't Escape Love. This is the Reluctant Royals 2.6 by Alyssa Cole. 5 out of 5 stars, y'all. Alyssa Cole is not to be slept on. She is such a good romance writer, y'all. I don't know what you're doing, but you need to pick her books up. Next book, it is Love Her or Lose Her by Tessa Bailey, and I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. Shocker. A lot of people did not like this, but I absolutely loved this, and I regret nothing. Next, it is Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur Volume 1, and I gave this a 3. I want to say it's like a 3.25. It's not a 3.5 and it's not a 3. So it's between there. This was definitely more towards the children side of comics, but I still did enjoy it very much, and I'm actually going to continue on with this series. Next book, it is To All the Boys I Loved Before by Jenny Han, and I gave this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Yes, it's a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It's not a 3 because it wasn't. It's a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I of thought I was gonna love this more, but I didn't. But it was still pretty good, so yeah. Next book, it is The Book Jumper by Mitch Glaser, and I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. Y'all, the only reason why I kept this book is because the cover is beautiful, but I don't think it's enough for me to hold on to it, and I will not be continuing on with the series. Next book, it is Young Jane, Young by Gabrielle 7, and I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars, y'all. I have not seen a lot of people mention this book, and you're missing out. This is, I don't want to say chick lit because I don't like saying that genre. I don't know, it feels weird. So we'll just call it like an adult contemporary. But it has time jumps, and it almost reminds me of The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. If you have read it, you kind of see the similarities, so I really enjoyed this book. Alright, so I read volumes 4 and 5 of Horomia by Daisuke Hajiwara and Hero. I gave both of these a 4 out of 5 stars. This is such a cute and fun manga, y'all. Highly recommend that you pick this up. Next, it is Orange Volume 1 by Ichigo Takano, and I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars, y'all. The hype is real. I loved this book. It was sort of intense, and it was beautiful. Please pick it up. Next books that I read, it is Jana of the Dawn, Volume 17, 18, and 19 by Mitsuho Kusanagi, and I gave all 3 5 stars, y'all. I don't think I've given any of these books less than a 5 stars. Honestly, the best series. Next book, it is A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. This was such a hype book, and I finally picked it up in 2020, and it did not disappoint. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, and I will be continuing on with this series. Next, it is Whipped by Jenica Snow, and I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. This was steamy, and it was a plus-size romance. Loved it. Next, it is Blue Flag Volume 1 by Kaito, and I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. This volume came out in 2020. I got an arc from NetGalley, and I really liked it. I cannot wait to continue on with the series. Next, it is The Two Lives of Lydia Bird by Josie Silver, and I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. This wasn't my 5-star prediction, and I think it is my fault entirely because I was not expecting this to be that depressing at all. Next, it is The Upside of Falling by Alex Light, and I gave this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I picked this up on a whim because I really liked the cover and I thought it was cute, and I actually really enjoyed it. So yeah. Next, it is Eat and Love Yourself by Sweeney Boo, and I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. Y'all, this was a graphic novel, and it was absolutely beautiful. It dealt with some really hard topics, plus the art style and the colors were poppin'. Honestly, this is definitely a must read. Next, it is Fence Volumes 1, 2, and 3 by C.S. Pacat, and I gave all of these a 4 out of 5 stars, y'all. I was just supposed to pick up Volume 1, and the series was so good that I just binge read 1, 2, and 3, y'all. Highly recommend that you pick the series up. Next book, it is The Shadow Between Us by Trisha Levenseller, and I gave this a, yes, 5 out of 5 stars, y'all. I loved this book so much. Plus this cover, oh my god. I saw it in person, and I was like, you need to be in my collection now. Next book, it is Theirs for the Night by Katie Robert, and I gave this a 4.5 out of 5 stars, y'all. This was so steamy. It was great. Next, it is 8 Perfect Murders by Peter Swanson, and I gave this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Now, if you did not know, this was actually my first official thriller, because y'all know I don't do that genre, and I was pleasantly surprised. I actually enjoyed it. next book, it is All the Stars and Teeth by Adeline Grace, and I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. Y'all, I was pleasantly surprised, but like, was I really? Because it did involve mermaids and pirates, and you know, those are like trigger words for me to be like, gimme, but it was really good. Next book, it is Grading Curves by Naima Simone, and I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. Super steamy age gap romance, but not too big. Next, it is Eleanor Park by Rainbow Rowell, and I gave this a 1 star. I hated this book. Y'all know I really did hate this book. And just in time that they announced that they were going to do a movie, like, out of all the books that you could have picked for a movie, Eleanor Park, really? Next, it is Grumpy Jake by Melissa Blue, and I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. This cover is beautiful, and the romance is a little steamy, but it's mostly soft, so it was good. Next, it is Divergent by Veronica Roth, and I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars, y'all. I'm super late on the train, but I'm glad I jumped. Like a true Dauntless. I really like this series. Next book, it is Night of the Dragon by Julie Kagawa. This destroyed me in all the right places. I love this series so much. I don't even want to talk about the third book because I'm gonna start crying, y'all. It was so good. Next book, it is Skyward by Brandon Sanderson, and I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. This was my first Brandon Sanderson book, and hopefully not my last, because I want to continue on with the series, and I know his adult fantasy is super hyped, so I cannot wait to jump on that train as well. Next, it is How to Be Fine by Jolenta Greenberg and Kristen Meinzer, and I think I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. It read like a podcast, and if you did not know, I'm slowly getting into podcast. Shout out to Barely Making It. I'm gonna link them down below. They're really good, and they're a Christian podcast. Next book, it is The Rest of Us Just Live Here by Patrick Ness, and I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. Definitely one of the weirdest books that I've read this year, but I'm not giving up hope on Patrick Ness's book because everyone said that this is definitely not his best work. So I'm gonna continue searching. Next, it is The Life and Medieval Times of Kit Sweetly by Jamie Paxton. Wow, that was a little bit of a mouthful. I gave this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed this book, and I haven't seen a lot of people talk about it, so check it out. Next, it is We Are Okay by Nina LaCour, and I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars, y'all. This was perfect for like a quiet winter read, even though I read it in the spring. It was really good. Next, it is My Wicked Nanny by Anne Mayburn, and I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars, y'all. This was steamy. Woo! Very steamy. Next, it is The Tourist Attraction by Sarah Morgenthaler, and I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. Honestly, the only reason why I didn't give it a 5 out of 5 stars is because it did not have any smut in it. So if you are the type of person who loves to read romance without the smut, I bet you this is going to be a 5-star read for you. Next, it is A Komi Can't Communicate Volume 1 by Tomohiro Oda, and I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars, y'all. I liked it so much that I bought volumes 1, 2, and 3 in a physical copy, and I cannot wait to continue on with the series. Next, it is The Revolution of Birdie Randolph by Brandy Colbert, and I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars, y'all. This came out of the nowhere because I didn't think I was going to love it this much, but I loved it this much. Next book, it is Other Words from Home by Jasmine Warga, and I give this a 5 out of 5 stars. Y'all, this was a middle grade, and it was so sweet, and it was heartwarming, and it was a tough read, but wow, I loved this. Next, it is The Best We Could Do by Thai Boy, and I gave this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. This was a huge graphic novel, and it had some intense topics, and I believe this is a memoir as well, but it is definitely worth picking up. Next, it is a Beach Read by Emily Henry, and I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars, y'all. I loved this romance so much. Shocking, because I don't know, it came out of the nowhere and it was just hyped, and I was like, oh, let's pick it up, and I loved it. So next, it is All Boys Aren't Blue by George M. Johnson, and I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. Wow, besides the cover being absolutely beautiful, this book was an incredible read. Next, it is The Black Flamingo by Dean Atta, and I gave this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Again, another incredible book with a beautiful cover. Next, it is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, and I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars, y'all. I jumped on the train because the third book is coming out this year, and I don't know why I never picked it up, but I know Jesse from Bow Ties and Books, they were raving about it, and they were like, well, this is a Poppy War stan account now on Twitter, and I was like, whoa, I gotta pick this up, and whoa, indeed, they were right. This is amazing. 5 stars. Next, it is A Ghost Squad by Claribel A. Ortega, and I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. Another middle grade, plus it's a Latinx story. Loved it. Next, it is Verona Comics by Jennifer Duggan, and I gave this a 3.5 out of 5 stars, y'all. Do not be fooled by this cover. This is actually pretty dark and has some heavy topics like mental health and suicidal thoughts. Next book we have, it is Felix Ever After by Case and Calendar, and I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars, y'all. Another beautiful cover and another beautiful story. I loved this. Next, we have Quinn Incredible Volume 1 by Ronnie Barnes, and I gave this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. This was very enjoyable, and I will be continuing on with the series. Next, we have a semi-definitive list of worst nightmares by Crystal Sutherland, and I gave this a 3.5 out of 5 stars, y'all. I really enjoyed this. Now, don't be fooled. The story is not what it seemed, and I'll just leave it there. Next, it is Ramona Blue by Julie Murphy, and I gave this also a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I really liked this story as well, and I can't believe I waited this long to pick it up. Next, it is A Song of Wraiths and Ruin by Roseanne A. Brown, and I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars, y'all. The best YA fantasy that I have read so far. This one is it. Next, we have A Starpeg by Delilah S. Dawson, and I gave this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. This was a super fun, and it had a lot of pop culture references, which made the story even better. Last but not least, it is You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars, y'all. This contemporary was everything, and highly recommend that you pick this up. Alright, y'all, so those were all of the books that I read for the first half of 2020, y'all. We are still trying to reach that 150 goal, and I am positive that I will complete it, y'all. Hold me accountable, because I really do want to complete this goal, because if not, this goal would be my most read in a single year, which we're trying to get there. So again, if you have any other ideas for videos, do comment down below. I absolutely love you guys and all the support that you have been giving me. I have a lot of stuff coming up on my channel, so stay tuned. Your girl is so excited. And yeah, thank you for being part of this journey. Thank you for subscribing, commenting, and liking as well. Now it is time to say goodbye, and until the next time, bye.